Today I come to you in a situation of absolute seriousness. What you are about to witness in this documentary is something scientifically of great seriousness. I would like to congratulate in advance my dear friend and colleague, Dr. Pedro Chavez Zavala, for having developed this great research. The first part of the investigation was performed outdoors in vaccinated people, and it was done in this way so that there wouldn't be any external influences of a Bluetooth signal. We are living in times that are very difficult, and after the pandemic, there's lots of information that are really false and erroneous. When the inoculation can cause magnetism, in the beginning I was very, very skeptic. As a scientist, one must be skeptical and don't believe things easily. At the beginning of the pandemic, I sincerely could have never imagined that through an experimental inoculation would have been presence of nanotechnology, graphene, frequencies. All of this thanks to our dear friend, Professor Pablo Campara, initiated investigations into the matter, and he proved the presence of graphene in vials. Later on, Dr. Zavala conducted an investigation over several months. He worked a lot of hours, for which I congratulate him roundly. And it is true that the inoculated emit frequencies. It's craziness. That looks like science fiction, but it's not, dear friends. In this documentary, you will be able to verify that this information is reliable. This information is already scientifically proven. March, April of 2021, we started detecting magnetism on the inoculation area of the vaccines. That was the first finding. Later on, colleagues of the vaccinated who were not vaccinated started saying that they also had magnetism somewhere in their body. With that evidence, we acquired an electromagnetic frequency meter, and then we started to measure the radio frequencies of the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. It caught our attention that there was not only a magnetic phenomenon, but they were also functioning as a large antenna. An antenna that was receiving some kind of signal. A study came to us by a doctor named Pablo Campara of University of, and by June 2021, we received the first graphene study. in a Pfizer vaccine. As a physician, I had never heard of graphene, nor had I known what it was. I started researching, and it was a derivative of carbon that has magnetic properties. Once it enters the body, outside the body in a vaccine vial, it's non-magnetic. Apparently, when graphene enters the interior of the organism and changes its temperature, it reacts with hydrogen and water in the body. And that's when graphene hydroxide is formed, and it magnetizes. The next finding was in November of last year, in which not only graphene was detected in a Pfizer vaccine, but it was also detected in AstraZeneca, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson, detected by electronic microscopy. Then we learned that in the United States, Dr. Robert Young also does electronic microscopy in vaccine vials. And around January of this year, 2022, comes to our knowledge the study of vaccine vials. Carcinio, Sputnik, and Synfram, which also have graphene oxide. 100% of these studied vials also have graphene oxide. And none of them say that they contain graphene oxide. So why in the open field, and what was the justification? With an electronic device such as this simple cell phone, with a Bluetooth application, when they were near vaccinated people, some Bluetooth codes were collected, which are called MAC, which means Media Access Control.
The first three, known as WI, correspond to the device manufacturer's identifier. The last three blocks, also known as NIC, are the serial number or identifier of the device itself.
One day I got a call from a military base. They show me a phone screen in a place with a 50-centimeter concrete wall and a very rigid protocol about the prohibition of using and entering the premises with any electronic device, and much less if it is transmitting, because in the area of telecommunications and on the screen I see that a director who has already entered the site and forgot to turn off the Bluetooth immediately when he turned it off, he was displaying on the screen a lot of MAC addresses, Media Access Control, which is the one used by the device, IoT, for example, the Internet of Things, or a Bluetooth speaker to connect. This could not be possible because no one had a cell phone transmitting. So we looked into it. We detected that the emissions were coming from the people's physical vehicles. We had two theories. They were auto-assembling, apparently, these particles of graphene oxide inside the body, and in the auto-assemble they are forming electronic devices. Some go to the brain, and they are called carbon nanotubes, and the others go from the neck down.
In the case of brain tissue, the scientific literature is very profuse, and includes a multitude of experiments and tests with carbon nanotubes and graphene oxide nanosheets, to act as electrodes, capable of acting as bridges between neurons and stimulating their electrical activity, which makes it possible, de facto, to create artificial axons and influence the segregation of neurotransmitters. Presumably, this would make it possible to interfere with the proper functioning of a person's psyche, monitor the electrical conductivity of brain regions, alter behavior, thinking, conduct, and so on.
With electronic microscopy, it was proven. These electronic devices in the vaccines, in the place inside premises, there's an analog transmitter, meaning it generated radio frequencies but not digital. It didn't make network frames from the Bluetooth protocol, but what it did was to energize. Later on we learned that in order to verify this effect, the absorption rate of the body to the energy had to be very high. It had to be in a place where you have an antenna nearby, or any type of radio frequency electromagnetic field of high energy, to be able to visualize this effect. Okay, so one by one, vaccinated by vaccinated, will transmit from point A to point B. Let's see if it registers one by one. And we will see at what distance the Bluetooth code gives us readings. Now we're going to do it like this, and why we are doing it here. At my workplace, with that same computer, 1,500 Bluetooth codes came up. Are you leaving your bracelet? Yes. It's here, look. Somewhere here in the Johnson 1 doses, it was on November 3rd, 3 of 11 of 2021. Yes, let the first one come, please. Now. 0 time. None of us is vaccinated. There is no Bluetooth readings. Let Caesar pass. He's on his way. Is this ready for the reading? Yes. This one read right away. Yes. Let's see. Good. So, code? D9 3654F D9952.
It is the phenomenon observed in people inoculated with COVID-19 vaccines, whereby they emit MAC addresses over a Bluetooth wireless network. These MAC addresses, unlike those of a normal device, are characterized by having no known manufacturer identifier. In other words, they are unknown. This can be checked in any of the manufacturer's MAC databases. In this way, it can be discerned that the MAC address does not correspond to any electronics manufacturer.
D:9? No, sorry, D9: 3654 36:54F. Yes, with the first 3 you get it. This is a site to detect manufacturers of media access control that are called Bluetooth. It turns on and off, you see? Yes. So when we have put the code of the electronic device, a cellular phone, the manufacturer shows up. Huawei, Samsung, LG, Apple, etc. But when we put in the detected codes in vaccinated patients, on this page it says not found. It says that the manufacturer is not found. Hello. Hi. Look here. Wait a little moment. What brand of vaccine did you get? Sinovac. No. No. Done. Okay, clear. Done, right? Yes. There, did something come up? Let's see. Let's see if it's the previous one. Let's see, I had already seen this one. 50, 54. It is the same one that you just dictated earlier. Exactly. It was detected 50, 54, 93, 23, 73, 71. The thing here is, I first thought that the code was unique. It looks like the code may appear to be random that are being formed, and it's not just one code. When he enters 5403, then another one, D9365, and now another one, 0F I don't know from all of them which one, but I mean, the last one that turned on, wait. Yes, that was super clear. Right when you entered, it turned on. There you go. Send 9, DD, 8A, A8, 80, 7A. Nothing shows up. It says error. Look. One showed up. There you go. FA. Is there a direct relationship between the cell phone and... Do you have a cell phone on? Yes, right now. Yes, data and Wi-Fi. Data and Wi-Fi. Bluetooth off?
Apple Link. Okay.
Something show up with before with Finadro or not? No. The first time I came, no. And he takes CD. No, it doesn't show up. 68 BF, browse a little bit. 42, and the other one is F09D1. Today's conclusions are, as you saw, we first did the study, and all cell phones turned off. In fact, not even the persons had their cell phones. They left them in their cars. Electronic devices were taken away, and watches that had Bluetooth were turned off, and medals were removed. So from the, how many people were in total? Were they 6? Of those 6 who participated in the first round, only 2 gave positive to the Bluetooth code. Good. We repeated the same thing with the same 6 persons, but now with their cell phones turned on. Bluetooth off, Wi-Fi data turned on. Why did we do it this way? Because theoretically, Bluetooth codes must be energized, or they have to recharge again. On the second round, Bluetooth codes were turned on everyone. This is striking here. That there were not the same Bluetooth codes that we obtained in the beginning. There is this work I'd like to mention, Mr. Mike Anderson, which is a pseudonym, where he already has a whole outline of the intercorporeal nano network.
The human collective, inoculated with the presupposed content of the vaccines, would make it possible to exercise exhaustive control over human activity, health status, work performance, or academic performance, influenced by currents of thought and subliminal communication strategies, facilitate the acceptance of measures and laws that are unpopular or negative for the interests of the population, bend the will or any resistance to perform certain tasks or functions, or undesired tasks, reduce.
We don't know how far technology can go, right? I don't know if it's even possible to control thoughts, behavior, emotions of people, though this, we don't know.
In this section, we will carry out an exercise of imagination to try to identify the possible uses and applications of the intracorporeal network. So I will list them in the following. 1. Neurosurveillance. The disposition of carbon nanotubes and graphene nanosheets in the neural tissue would facilitate the monitoring of brain activity.
If they were told, do we have your consent to introduce to you an electronic device inside your body? I think they would have said no. We really don't know the reason It could just be a simple identification. Who is vaccinated and who is not. And they input a reader, right? And that's how they know if you are vaccinated, right? As simple as that, and that is, nothing further happened. How through electro frequencies human conduct and behavior can be affected. There are patents. There are studies.
Neuromodulation. It involves the interaction in the human psyche through the electrical modulation of one or multiple zones of the brain tissue, according to preconceived patterns. Neurostimulation. Closely related to neuromodulation, neurostimulation would be responsible for stimulating the segregation of neurotransmitters.
Once these codes give a reading, we have already checked this morning, they discharge, and they recharge with Wi-Fi signals in their homes. We continued to study, and we learned that those addresses would behave in an intelligent way. They would maintain, but they charge in proximity with other people who emitted as if transmitting a score. We learned that they occupy part of the standard, but not the whole standard. Delit Play 815.4, which belongs to the communications protocol in the Bluetooth language. We learned that the addresses changed. They changed every determined time. If all of this is true, and evidently I know that the measurements have been done well, it gives us a lot to think. We need to ask, what is the purpose of this added substance that it is not related to vaccine? And also, the vaccine is not really a vaccine, but what are the real dangers? Or what is the purpose? The second stage of the investigation was carried out in a cemetery. At the time when there were no external influences from other people, you did hear I went to a cemetery of about 5,000 square meters, and I walked through the graveyard for an hour, the same way with that computer and with this Bluetooth antenna. At first I was being told the place where the people who had passed away in 2021 and 2022. Then I said, you won't let me where the graves are. Now I find them, and I'll stop when the Bluetooth signal turned on. And we always found around someone who had passed away in 2021 or 2022. Well, here I am. Greetings from a cemetery, somewhere in the Republic of Mexico, where you can see that there are no other people here besides us. We are not vaccinated. And we are picking up the Bluetooth codes from people who have died. Now, for now, in this cemetery, 4 Bluetooth codes were detected. We obviously don't know where the people who died in 2021 and 2022 are, but we are being guided by the Bluetooth readings. I am around graves of people who died before 2021. And no Bluetooth code is turning on. I'm standing next to a grave of a person who passed away in 2000, October of 2021. October of 2021. And just there, or just here, a 10th device has turned on. It says 10 devices. I repeat, we're in a cemetery, and around here, there is no one alive in the vicinity. Right here, again, another Bluetooth device. Of a person who passed away November 22nd, 2021. But it is very noticeable that when I stand at this point next to this grave, another Bluetooth code of another person was turned on, of someone who passed away in 2021. Let's say 11 devices are already registered here, and there are the MAC codes. When we walk through the graves, it helps us to know. Invariably, we have found graves of people who died 2021 and 2022. Stage 3 of the research was carried out in unvaccinated individuals in a similar way to how we did with the vaccinated people. Walk to where the computer is located, you already know where it is, and we'll register if a Bluetooth code reading shows up or not. We'll call the first unvaccinated. So he or she comes here in the front. It does not give Bluetooth code reading. Here, BLE scan. It says no nearby devices. Here, a new one showed up. Yes. But no vaccine, PCR, nothing? PCR, I got the PCR done in November. Here it is, look. Here is a new one that showed up. And there too. Yes, the same one. Yes, 4 and 4. 4 on the iPhone and 4 here. And it matches with this. Right now, when you approached, a device showed up. You see? This is very interesting because it means that there is another source. The patient hasn't been vaccinated. What variable is there? That a PCR was done. Salvador's keeps showing up. There you go. Clean? Clean? Nothing new showed up. Yeah, nothing new showed up. A little bit forward. There's another one. Let's see. But it does not match. Well, take notes. Have you done PCR? Yes. January 30th. 4-3:9D 69017936. Here we are seeing the reading from a woman who is not vaccinated. But in January, she had a PCR done. And she issues a reading, curiously, 2 Bluetooth signals turned on. Yes. A little code turned on. Have you done PCR? Antigens? But I mean, have they introduced you a swab? Yeah, with the antigen, yes. Which one is next? 6C. And is it the same? It's the same here and here. 6C. None of my children nor my husband. My mom, yes, but she doesn't live here. CEB863D3. I've been registering. Yes, everything that a code showed up here. You were standing right here and the code turned on. The amount of graphene that would enter in a vaccine is way higher than the amount via hydrogel. There are some necklaces made of, they're supposed to be for energy or something. Now go to Andre. Andre had 2. 079444. I would have to enter it again. Look, another device turned on. Yes, look at it's here. 6DEE, 6DEE. It turned on both. That's strange. Have you had a PCR test? Yes, on August of last year, 2021. There was one missing, and I was doing an observation on another one. Done. Come. No.
No.
No. Nothing. No.
Clean. Ahí está, ya. No, no nos dio.
How many PCR have you done, Vero? Like 4 or 5? No, nothing. But I have always, do you take chlorine dioxide? No, but I always did the protocol. Always nasal protocol, and you take zeolite and... Yes. Something else we noticed is that when we want to see the code again, because they already displayed signal, they don't show up because power discharge. As of now, the conclusion of this study, in overall terms, I believe only a few people give us a code reading. And based on the interview, they come from 2 sources. They either had a partner whom they no longer spending time with, and they showed positive for the Bluetooth code, and we think graphene can be transferred through sexual intercourse or through kissing. And there's something very clear. It's possible that via PCR they insert these devices through something called hydrogel. I have already studied it, and today I proved it. I'd like to highlight that we have just witnessed, in this part of consequence of the application and uses, is purely speculative, and based on the revision of bibliographic references only. We must have a healthy life. In general terms, what would be a healthy life? Proper thoughts, proper food, proper nutrients, proper habits, and be around people who really contribute or help us. If we want to send a message of tranquility to the population that has already been inoculated, and as you saw on the documentary, some non-inoculated that could issue signal. That, for now, on the website www.comusav.com, the protocol anti-inoculation is available. Available to anyone who would like to review it. I have nothing but to thank Dr. and honorific member of World Health and Life Coalition, Andres Ludwig-Klauker, to Dr. Manuel Aprecio Alonso, President of COMUSAV Mundial, to Andre Leal, documentary filmmaker, who in a disinterested and altruistically way helped us in the making, to Mika Anderson also for all the materials that we have received altruistically. A very exhausting investigation. And finally, to Diego Hernan Barrientos, who guided us on issues that otherwise it would have not been possible to solve. Thank you very much. To Marian Barrientos Gonzalez for the use of the premises where Bluetooth, the documentary, was filmed.